The Muddy Foot Prince, written by Alicia Hogan Murphy, illustrated by Michael Schweitzer. Prince Oliver James Huntington IV had ruined 37 pairs of black, shiny, buckled dress shoes. Not just with a little scuff or a slight splatter of mud, he'd gotten them filthy. The palace where Prince Oliver lived stood at the top of a tall hill looking over the entire kingdom. At the bottom of that tall hill was a beautiful pond where the prince spent his days looking for frogs, catching snakes, and chasing butterflies. Prince Oliver loved to dig for worms, fish for fish, and make mud pies. At the end of the day, he would race back to the palace to share his discoveries with his parents, King Oliver James Huntington III and Queen Mildred Rose Huntington. Ordering him to leave his pond friends outside, the king and queen would yell at Prince Oliver for getting the palace floors dirty with his muddy, wet shoes. "Princes don't play in the ponds," the king would yell. "Nor do they play with frogs and snakes or make mud pies," the queen would add. "But I like to do all those things. It's fun," the prince would explain. "Besides, I have no one else to play with. I get lonely, so I make friends with the animals." "But you ruin your shoes each day, and we have to send for new ones," the queen argued. "You have so many toys in your royal bedroom. Why don't you play there?" suggested the king one day. "It's not as much fun," the prince said. "Outside, I can be with nature. I can see how it looks, enjoy how it smells, and hear how it sounds." The king and queen shook their heads. One day, after discovering a small log full of beeswax, the prince, so excited, came running through the grand front hallway in his freshly ruined muddy shoes. He slipped on the shiny marble floor, wet from washing, and dropped the log, which broke and made a gooey mess. "Prince Oliver James Huntington IV!" shouted Queen Mildred Rose Huntington. "What have you done? You made a terrible mess on the marble floor, and you ruined your shoes again." "I'm sorry," he mumbled. "Sorry isn't good enough anymore," yelled the king. "From now on, you are not to play down by the pond. Now, clean up this mess at once." The king and queen stormed out of the grand front hallway. Prince Oliver looked at his broken log dripping with sticky honey and bits of beeswax on the not-so-shiny marble floor. His eyes filled with tears as he said, "I didn't mean to ruin the nice shiny floor or my shoes. I just wanted to show everyone my log." That night, the prince laid awake in his bed. "No one understands me here," he said in the darkness. "The palace would be such a quieter and nicer place if I just left." He made his bed, packed a small bag, and crept quietly down the grand staircase and through the front hallway. He sneaked past the guards at the main gate and left the palace without anyone knowing. Prince Oliver ran down to the pond to say goodbye to his animal friends. But where were the croaking frogs and the slithering snakes? The water was quiet and still. Where were the jumping fish and the tiny turtles? "Hoo, hoo, hoo, hoo," cried a voice suddenly. Prince Oliver James Huntington IV gasped. He looked around and saw no one. It was awfully dark. "Who's there?" his shaky voice called. Only silence answered. The prince felt a chill run down his back. He had forgotten to pack a warm sweater. His shoes sank slightly into the mud beside the pond. He thought about starting down the road into the village, but shivered with fear. He had never been away from the palace at night before. "Maybe I'll run away in the morning after it gets light," Prince Oliver said to himself. "I'll sleep in the warm carriage house. It won't be so dark and cold after the sun comes up." He trudged his way back up the hill. The carriage house wasn't as cozy as his own bedroom, but the prince found a warm corner where he curled up and was soon fast asleep. Queen Mildred Rose Huntington woke at the crack of dawn, coming out of her royal bedroom. She saw sunlight beaming into the hallway from her son's bedroom. Peeking in, she saw that Prince Oliver's bed was empty and it hadn't been slept in. The queen ran down the grand staircase and looked downstairs for her son. He was nowhere to be found. She awakened the king and alerted everyone in the palace, but the prince was missing. When he wasn't found anywhere in the palace, the king and queen asked their driver to take them to search the village. They were heading down the road towards the main gate when suddenly the queen cried, "Stop!" "What is it?" asked the king. "Look," said Queen Mildred, pointing to the walkway near the carriage house. "Muddy footprints." They burst into the carriage house and found Prince Oliver still sleeping soundly. The queen ran to him and scooped him into her arms. Prince Oliver was startled when he saw his parents. "I know you're angry with me," the prince said. "I was trying to make things right by leaving. I know I should be happy playing with my toys, and I should not mess up the palace, but I love to go outside and fish, look for snakes, catch frogs, and play in the pond. I'm sorry. I hope you can still love me." The king looked at the queen with a tear in his eye. "We're sorry, too," he said. "We were wrong to get so mad. It's just mud, and it's not really that important." "I'll try not to cause any more trouble," said the prince. "You're no trouble at all," smiled the queen, hugging her son again. "Thank goodness for your muddy footprints. They helped us find you." Later that day, the king looked out the window and had an idea. "Why don't we build you a greenhouse on the hill where you can grow plants and keep your frogs and snakes?" "Really?" the prince grinned. "Wow! Would you help me with the planting?" "We'd love to," smiled the queen. In the end, the king and queen had learned a lesson about what truly matters. And Prince Oliver James Huntington IV learned that it's okay to be messy sometimes in the right place.